Welcome to Tulsa Titans, highlighting our local business leaders who are making a difference in Tulsa. Today, we have Ryan Smith, Account Manager and A&D Community Liaison. He is from L&M Office Furniture. Thanks for joining us today.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be on.
Wonderful, Ryan. Well, why don't you start off and tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'll be happy to. So I grew up southeastern Oklahoma on a peanut farm. We grew peanuts, watermelons, potatoes, squash, just about anything you can think of, but primarily the peanuts and watermelons. I was one of 7 kids, so it didn't take long for my dad to realize that farming was probably not the answer to raising 7 kids. So he went into construction. And so whenever I graduated high school, the last thing I wanted to ever do was go into construction. Well, fast forward several failed attempts at getting a bachelor's degree, and one thing or another, I finally did graduate and ended up doing that in construction management. So I spent 10 years doing construction project management before I came over here to L&M into sales. I met my wife while I was in school. Classic, met her at the bar. I was at a karaoke bar, and I cannot carry a tune in a bucket. She came up and saved me from a song. I immediately fell in love, but it took her a long time to warm up to me. Now we've got 2 kids together. We've got a 9-year-old and a 5-year-old. We've got the classic firstborn who's sweet, caring, just wants to please everybody. And then we've got a 5-year-old that is here to shake things up. She's a handful. But I love her, and she brings out just a joy to be around. She's the one that'll have a knee brace on or an ankle brace on, and she's still jumping off of stuff. She doesn't care. So, but that's kind of what led me to L&M. Is I was in construction, I was traveling a lot, I wasn't home at all, and so being here has allowed me to spend more time with them, and I've really enjoyed my time here so far.
Wonderful. Well, a lot of things have changed, and I'm curious, what are 3 things that you are consuming more of this year? And what are 3 things that you're giving a little bit less time and attention to this year?
Yeah, of course. So 3 things that I'm definitely consuming more: networking / mentor advice, just kind of getting out there and knowing the people a little bit better, getting to know my peers and possibly the people I may be, contacting to be clients. And then of course, taking mentor advice. There's some great people in this industry that have been at it for a long time, and they've just got some great advice that I know if I can just follow and kind of take their lead, that this is going to be good. So that's one thing. Another is quality time with the family. That's kind of part of why I took this position, was to be with them more. And so I've really kind of invested more time in them. And life has just been greater on my end and on their end as well, which has just been a blessing to all of us. And, with just times the way they are, I'm drinking a lot more bourbon. Yeah. So, sometimes it's just the way to got to get through some of these hard times. But I think things I'm paying less attention to is, the critics and the haters. I don't know how else to say it, but I kind of took a cut with this one, but the benefits that I've already seen has been well worth it. Just the time with the family, the work-life balance, and the stress has been totally great. Another thing that I'm really trying to do is cut down the screen time. Just get away from it. It isn't necessary at some points, but my goal every week is on Sunday evening when it says, hey, your screen time was this much. I'm hoping every time to make sure it says that I'm down so much %. So it's always a goal I look forward to every week. And then, I'm trying to stay away from biased news. I want to know what's going on in the world. And, I've got opinions that may lean left or may lean right, but, I try to just get the facts and, try to concentrate on that where I get my news from. So it seems to lend itself to, just kind of a happier life that way.
Wow, it does sound like you've made a point to eliminate things that you don't feel are doing you much good, and to really surround yourself with people that really uplift you and cause you to be a better person. So
Yes.
that's fantastic. Well, you spoke a little bit about habits and things like that. So, do you have a daily habit that helps you to be effective? So, on the good side of things, something that you do, try to do every day that makes you better at professionally, personally, and in every way.
I wouldn't say that it's one thing that I do, but I really try to focus on communication. Whether it's just a quick answer to an email saying, hey, I've got it, I'm working on it, received, if it's just that quick response to just say that I'm working on it, or, to actually get back with somebody. And I think that's important, not only in professional life, but personally as well. I mean, I think that's the key to being successful at anything that you work on, whether it be professional or personal, is communication.
That's so good because it's really just treating people like people, right?
Yes.
Treating people
Yes.
the way that you want to be treated. And are we really so busy that we can't stop to take time for somebody else who's asked for our time? I love that.
I mean, that's a great point too. I love that the way that you worded that is perfect. I mean, we are all people no matter what we do. And I think people really appreciate being treated that way. So I like the way that you worded that.
Indeed. Well, let me ask you this, because a lot of things have changed in our industry. What do you think about social selling? What are your thoughts on that? And really, how has that impacted your industry?
Well, I mean, that's pretty much my everyday life is social selling. So, most of my calls and my visits, they don't result in an immediate sale or transaction. So, I'm trying to nurture those relationships, create long-lasting relationships that, I hope that are mutually beneficial to both myself and the client.
Exactly. And then offering that education, just being there as a resource for them, right? Until they're ready to come on board with what you have to offer. Wonderful. What do you think about playing the long game in sales? I mean, I think you kind of just answered that with your relationship building, but tell me a little bit more about what you think about the long game in sales.
Especially on my end, like I said, I mean, there's hardly any of my calls result in that immediate sale or transaction. So the long game, I equate it to my upbringing. I grew up on a farm, and what you did today, you would not see or reap the benefits from, or sometimes you wouldn't even see immediate reaction at all for sometimes months to come. And so you got to plant that seed, you've got to nurture it, you've got to water it, fertilize it, and take care of it and let it grow into something that can be beneficial to everyone. So I think playing the long game is great, and I enjoy that part of it as much as anything. It just gives me a time to develop more relationships, get to know some great people, especially in the Tulsa area.
Absolutely. That's one of my favorite things about what we do, is just getting to meet so many amazing people and learn about them, learn about their business. So that's fantastic that you enjoy that part of it, because not everybody does. And in our industry, what you do today affects you 30, 60, and most definitely 90 days down the road. So knowing that you're continually working and spending time focused on that long game and what the outcome might be, it's great. So, do you have any advice around selling to executives, especially in this tougher market?
I think that the key there, or maybe the best thing that I can think of that I personally do is you have to believe or know that what you're trying to sell them, whether it's your service or your product, will actually benefit them or their team or their culture. I'm trying not to just sell something to sell something, but the products that we sell, fortunately for me, they're products that people use at least 8 hours a day. So whether you're sitting in it or you're sitting at it or you're using it, with the office furniture, I really hope it's something that actually betters them, their team, or their culture.
That's always fantastic to hear. There can be a negative connotation when it comes from consultants or about consultants and salespeople. I liked that about you initially, that your goal is to find somebody that has a need and meet that need, right? And so I think that definitely sets you apart. So as we're going to wrap this up here, I have one more question for you, Ryan.
Okay.
Now, I'm a big reader, and I know our viewers love to read as well. So if your house was on fire and you could grab 3 books that would save you, what would they be?
I love this question because I've always been an avid reader, and admittedly so in the past. I know, I mean, my college was only reading textbooks. And so the first few years out of college, I hardly read any. And now I'm able to get back into it. But the 3 books for me would be Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink and Leif Bobbin. You know, if you're not aware of it, it's a great read. Just I think it's something that applies not only to your professional life, but your personal life as well. Just taking ownership for your actions, for your projects, and everything you do. I just think it makes you better as a business person and as you know, in your personal life. One that I'm currently reading right now, which has just changed my outlook on a lot, is The Storyteller: Tales of Life and Music by Dave Grohl. I mean, I love that book so far. You know, the first line in it, he says, "Sometimes I forget that I've aged." And I definitely feel that a lot. And I just love his outtake on life, and, you know, just love seeing his perspective on music and kids and growing up. And it's been great read. And then one of my all-time favorites is Lonesome Dove. I think it's just a great book on life, and, you know, how our outlooks on life can affect, you know, the way that you live. You know, are you living life, or are you just going by day to day?
I love it. I love it. Thank you for sharing those. And in fact,
Yeah.
now it looks like I need to add to my reading list a little bit, for sure. For sure. Well, tell me this, if anybody wants to get in contact with you, and what is the preferred way that they would reach out to you?
I'm kind of an old school guy. I love a phone call. So, you know, people are more than free to call me. My cell phone number is 918-200-1202. You can email me at Ryan S at L-M officefern, that's FURN.com. I'll take text messages, emails, phone calls. I'll do anything. I know some people are just more comfortable, you know, texting, and that's great too. I love to hear a voice and things like that. So I tend to do the phone calls a lot, and so I love that, but I'm open to any of it.
Fantastic. Well, I want to thank you again. This is Crystal Horton, Account Executive of New Wave Solutions, and we have Ryan here. Ryan, we are so glad to have you on. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thank you for having me. This has been great. I've loved getting to know you and more about your company and just the things that you at the Tulsa Titan podcast do. I've been listening to it quite a bit lately, and I just love to hear from the leaders around Tulsa. It's been great.
Fantastic. I certainly appreciate it, Ryan, and you stay awesome and cool this week.
Gonna try. Same to you.
Thank you so much.